So, this is by Judith Viorst, and it's a classic. It's been around a long time. It's called If I Were in Charge of the World and Other Worries, Poems for Children and Their Parents. So this is a really fun one. It's illustrated by Lynn Cherry, and I picked a few specific ones. We'll begin with If I Were in Charge of the World. If I were in charge of the world, I'd cancel oatmeal, Monday mornings, allergy shots, and also Sarah Steinberg. If I were in charge of the world, there'd be brighter night lights, healthier hamsters, and basketball baskets 48 inches lower. If I were in charge of the world, you wouldn't have lonely, you wouldn't have clean, you wouldn't have bedtimes or don't punch your sister. You wouldn't even have sisters. If I were in charge of the world, a chocolate sundae with whipped cream and nuts would be a vegetable. All 007 movies would be G. And a person who sometimes forgot to brush and sometimes forgot to flush would still be allowed to be in charge of the world. So this poem is a perspective by a young person who is thinking very hard about what would make their day even better. Look at that, eating ice cream, counting it as a vegetable. This next one is entitled, I Wouldn't Be Afraid. I wouldn't be afraid to fight a demon or a dragon. If you dare me, I wouldn't be afraid of witches, warlocks, trolls, or giants. Just worms scare me. Just worms. Weird. Look at this one. Look how they've played around with the words on this one. Weird. My sister Stephanie's in love. I thought she hated boys. My brother had a yard sale and got rid of all his toys. My mother started jogging, and my dad shaved off his beard. It's spring, and everyone but me is acting really weird. So as a poet, you can do things with your words to help express what's weird about this poem. What do you notice? All the words are upside down. All right, here are a couple that were shared as well. I'm going to read all three of these. The first is called Short Love Poem. It's hard to love the tallest girl when you're the shortest guy. For every time you try to look your true love in the eye, you see her belly button. You can imagine what that's like. Learning. I am learning to say thank you, and I'm learning to say please, and I'm learning to use Kleenex, not my sweater, when I sneeze, and I'm learning not to dribble, and I'm learning not to slurp, and I'm learning, though it sometimes really hurts me, not to burp, and I'm learning to chew softer when I eat corn on the cob. And I'm learning that it's much, much easier to be a slob. All right. Look at what he's done here, or what she's done, what the poet has done here. I'm not. I'm not the biggest or smallest or shortest or tallest or fastest or slowest or meanest or sweetest. And I'm not the oldest or youngest or smartest or dumbest. But most of all, I'm not the neatest. Look at that. I'm not the neatest. That is illustrated in this poem. I'm going to share one more where the poet does something interesting with the words. So take a look at the format here. Sometimes poems. This is called Sometimes Poems. Sometimes poems are short and fat and have a double chin. The poems I write don't look like that. My poems are tall and thin, except the day I sat, then looked, instead of looked, then sat, and squashed one flat. These will be posted on our class page so that you can see it more closely. But at the very bottom, they have written, and squashed one flat. So we'll be able to play around a little bit with poetry in class as well as we explore the mechanics of poetry this month and have some fun with it.